Hi, up to this point in the course, we have truly discussed all the theory that underpins the practice, the scientific basis through neuroplasticity and the access to the nervous system, the idea of building a practice that considers social evolution and the use of the body, and also all the security and consistency mindset that needs to be understood before going to the mat. Now it's time for us to learn the main positions. I selected the asanas most used in this method and brought them here so that you can get to know firsthand the positions that make up our practice. The idea is that you understand what each position is intended to do with your body, so that during practice you are comfortable and aware. Sukhasana is part of the vast majority of our classes, and it's a key component of the whole method. Because the way we use our bodies nowadays, it's very important to work first in our hip joints, and this pose is exactly about that. This pose is about re-establishing the proper mobility in the hip joints. The lack of mobility in our hips is a problem everywhere around the globe nowadays, and this is why this is our key component. So have a look. It's so important that we have to be very mindful in every single detail and aspect of the process of building this position. Sometimes when you see my classes, you will see me demonstrating this pose. And apparently it's very easy and available, but you gotta remember, my hip has been through a tremendous traumatic event in my childhood. And that means the point I am nowadays has been reached out of a process. I've been practicing for many years. Don't get me wrong, it was never this way before. This is the consequence of the proper practice. The freedom I enjoy in my body nowadays has been my goal from the very beginning. So I will show you in this body that has restrictions and rigidity, and you will get to understand more properly what we are actually trying to do. So we use pillows to sit on very often, and those pillows are not there to create comfort. Sometimes they make the floor more accessible, but very often they're there to provoke reactions and to create complexity. So this is not what people usually think it is. So sitting on a pillow, I'd like you to have both of your legs in front of you, and then before getting them crossed, I'd like you to feel that you are sitting on the top edge of your pillow, not towards the back, not towards the front. Don't try to make your sit bones even, because our pelvis is never symmetrical. So when you try to make your sit bones symmetrical, you just reinforce the cycle of problems and issues around the human pelvis. Okay? So just be natural. Respect your natural state. Respect your body as it is. Then I'd like you to move your right leg slightly out to the right. And then have your left foot coming to the right in front of you. Your left shin bone is kind of parallel to a wall in front of you or behind you. So this is the exact position I want. In front of the left, you place the right. And as you can see, this is not symmetrical. This is not necessarily harmonic. This is not necessarily easy, because this position in my work has been designed to expose hip restrictions and not to make you comfortable in the pose. And that is a key part of the method. That means here in his body, as you can see, the right hip is a lot more restricted than the left. And this is what you want. Very often in the yoga field, we learn that we have to perform. And then in a very subtle level, we actually learn that we have to keep your problems hidden inside. And this is exactly the opposite of what I do. I want the problems to come to the surface, and I want you to be aware of all of them in order for you to change them eventually. So here, knees are kind of harmonically, maybe slightly symmetrically, away from the center line of the pelvis. So the distance between the center line and the left knee and the right knee is about the same. But don't be rigid with those details, because as I told you before many times, we are asymmetrical. Then you will try to have your right foot closer to you, which is also not correct. We want to have the right foot towards the front part of the pose. Remember, all this is about the exposure of our restrictions. Many people in the yoga field, they do learn to do this. They learn to bypass their restrictions. And that is very wrong, mainly in this work. Because when you bypass, you allow the problem to remain inside of you. So remember, at first the yoga pose has to be your own perfect and detailed X-ray. You gotta know yourself in depth. And you gotta know everything your body needs from you as the control center of this process. So, sitting on top of your pillow, first you place the left leg in front of you, having your left shin parallel to the front wall. And even further forward, if you are comfortable with that. The more we expose our hips, the better. And then you place the right leg, basically, in the exact same way. This is what you are trying. In this position, for his body, sensitivity is already there. And sensations might be moving from the hip towards the knee, from the outside part of the, through the outside part of the thigh. So this is our basic position. Sometimes this is totally unavailable to us because we've been neglecting our hips for so long that we might need a second pillow. And that's fine. Very often the student feels uncomfortable using too much equipment, but I really like that. I love lots of equipment because it allows us to have access to a variety of angles inside and therefore to a variety of results, which is what we really want. So this is Sukhasana. Sometimes people talk about lotus pose and create ideas about forcing a perfect posture, but none of that will be done here. Because when you really find the restriction, it triggers certain posture that you should be embracing and accepting. Eventually that will change, but not because you were forcibly disrespecting your nature at this time. So here we have the basic version of Sukhasana. After working with one side, we might change to the second side, respecting exactly the same guidelines. So please switch sides. Parallel to the front wall or even slightly forward. Second leg, side to side, things are not exactly the same. In here, as you can see, everything looks more harmonic, but actually this side is not as exposed as before, and we want to have it all. Eventually, we will learn that we can vary not only the size of our pillow, Sometimes we can have a very tiny pillow or no pillow. Sometimes we can use 2 pillows to have more and more variety. And we can also create more variations, moving the feet further out to each side and exposing more, like this. See, a more tight, a more intense version. What is the proper one? All of them are necessary. The only thing you are not going to do is to bring your feet closer to your pillow. That position that bypasses our necessities is the only one I'd like you to avoid. So, I will make it even more clear for you. Please release. Lift yourself up. See that? Lots of height. And that is not a problem. If your hips are really restricted, painful, sore, sensitive, you might need that. And if that is what gives you access to your optimum, that is what you need to do. So, legs crossed in the same position, respecting the same guidelines. This also creates more instability, and instability triggers awareness. And this is one of the things we do quite often. We provoke the system, we stress out the system intelligently in order to get a better response from the system. So now, from here, I could tell him to bend forward and have your hands touching the floor. This pillow is his floor. We are lifting up the floor in order for him to have access to structure and stability. If that is not necessary, we can definitely go to the floor. He should not be sliding. Everything is solid. And now we have access to a certain angle of his hip joints that is quite unique. You could think that this body is not having enough stimuli because of the high support, but actually, this body is having a quite unique type of stimuli that happens only in here. Slowly come back. I'll remove. Sit on your pillow again. Switch the way you have your legs crossed. One of the things we do quite often in our practices is also the work with spirals. So in here, we expose his hip restriction. See, the knee is not going to the floor, and this is what we want. We are creating this stimulation inside in order to rebuild all the mobility that this body needs to thrive in life. So another thing we do very often is the rotation or the combination of the spinal movements with the hip restriction stimulation. So flex forward. And our flexions, they will never happen with you extending your spine. We have to regain this natural mobility. I've seen this thousands of times. People are often afraid of flexing forward naturally, but that is our basic nature. We have to regain that. So from here, listen to what I describe. Please, very slowly, walk with your hands to the left and have your center chest aligned with your left knee. Then bring the left hand closer to the left side of your pillow and lift up the left elbow. From here, press the left hand against the floor and move the weight back to the right sit bone. Then lift up your left shoulder, drop down the right shoulder, have your right hand in line with your left knee and slide this hand away, opening up the skin on the right side of your torso. This is also very common in our work. Notice that I've never mentioned symmetry in the sit bones or anywhere else. We, most of the time, work with asymmetrical stimuli. Now, slowly and gently melt down to the center. The words I pick to use as I teach, they matter a lot. So please don't change the words I'm using, because I've been selecting those words exactly to trigger the proper responses that I know will benefit you the most. In the same way, with the same kindness, come to the second side. See, to the first side, I was very precise. To the second side, I just said, come to the second side. And why is that? Because many times the selection of a different cueing allows the student to learn more, and we can provoke better reactions, not trying to make everything precise. We are precisely unprecise, and this is part of my work. Now I can see what's missing, and I can just say, now please slide your left hand away from you in line with your knee, because that was the only thing he forgot. In this way, I can see where my students are at, and I give them only what they need. At the same time, I provoke more learning. And now melt down to the center again. Be in the pose. Feel the pose. Do not analyze it. Just be there. These are some of the things I'll be mentioning as I teach. We try in this method to teach our students and to experience it as we practice ourselves, how to be present in the body with our intellectual brain being almost dormant. We operate most of the time mainly from perception mechanisms. We try not to think in a discursive way. We try to be there feeling, aware, not in an analytical mode. Here, let's talk a little bit about the optimum. What would be the optimum? The optimum is, in the pose, the amount of sensation that is allowing him to be there comfortably. Aware, definitely feeling enough to feel grounded, but also feeling absolutely safe. The sensation level might be mild, never high. And the more you practice, the more you will indulge yourself to explore more, but never forcibly imposing. It has to be a highly sustainable position. Now, I'll give you a second option or a third option. Let's say this body is actually even more restricted and maybe traumatized by an accident. This curvature is not available. It involves risk, it involves pain. Maybe this is a body that is super old, and being on the floor is highly challenging. Then we can raise up the floor. Come slowly back. And then slowly stand up. Slowly stand up. Slowly move. Always aware. This slow pace is part of most of the things we do. If the body does not reach the floor And even sometimes the body can't go to the floor, but we feel that it's time to add complexity. We feel that it's time to add variety. We can raise the floor and challenge body and brain in a quite unique manner. Sit at the front edge of the chair, please. Here, first of all, we need chairs that are solid, stable chairs for the nervous system to feel supported and safe. This is mandatory. Safety always has to come first. From here, sitting towards the front edge but feeling grounded, have your ankles and your knees touching. Then, the angle behind your knees will be kind of 90 degrees because it's about the same angle we've used on the floor before. Now, please keep your sit bones as they are right now. Keep your left knee as it is right now and place the right ankle over to the left on top of the knee. Now we do have half Sukhasana on a chair. We don't have to go to the floor and we can enjoy basically the same benefits. If the floor is too challenging, this is perfect for you. And if the floor is highly accessible, every now and then come to the chair because this will add more variety to your experience. And variety is one of the main things we're always aiming for. From here, same, bend forward. And here we have basically everything we've had on the floor, but just operating in a more controlled way. We are segmenting, we are dividing, and we are targeting more and different things. From here, please walk with your hands to the left, as if you were on the floor. Move the left hand to the chair. And again, we're operating with that same spiral. Back to the center. Depending on the class, we can stay here for quite a while. And then come to the right, please. See, everything might become an asset in your process of practicing. Even the more simplistic objects, things you could never imagine would be part of your practice. Back to the center. One of the main mistakes of the students is to believe that they should be getting rid of everything to have only a mat. I think that is a tremendous lack of understanding. And slowly come back. So, therefore, knowing that every body could be enjoying this position, you start to understand that not only the position is available, but also the progression from this standpoint is also available to all of us. There is no restriction. So from here, eventually you will learn how to move to more complex poses. And some of my more complex classes uses chairs and uses them a lot. So we'll be moving from here to the straddle and to a bunch of different poses, always with the chair, if that is the best for you. And if you don't need the chair, great. Eventually, I'll teach you that you need the chair more than you could possibly imagine. Now, we are going to approach Supta Paranusthasana, or our strap work. And this is also a key component of the method. In this work, usually, most of my students truly believe that we are stretching the legs, but actually, once again, we are working with joints. This is how we work. First of all, lie on your back and have your head supported. Most of the time, in everything we do, we consciously use a high support to the head, and we get great results out of that. Eventually, I will explain you more and more about that idea. Sometimes also consciously, also aiming for a specific result, we use the head on the floor, we increase the size of the pillow, or we diminish. Once again, this is about variety. Lie on your back with your head supported. Have your knees touching and your ankles touching as well. From here, I will use a strap. And I will ask you in the classes to move mindfully of the position of your pelvis touching the floor. And I will never say, try to make it even, because it's not even. Our sacrum most of the time has subtle changes and variations in the format. So I'd like you not to impose anything. I'd like you to close your eyes, feel the way your pelvis touches the floor. Don't analyze and don't judge. After feeling it, listen to my cueing. Now, instead of moving that area, I'd like you to move your right leg slowly, not shifting the way your pelvis naturally touches the floor. So lift up the right leg, place the strap at the base of your toes on the right foot, and then extend your arms, grabbing the strap with your hands. Many times in many classes, this is the position we work with. We keep our knees together. That means we use a very low angle because this is not a leg stretch. You might feel your calf, but this is ankle work and footwork. This is about the reestablishment of the mobility in your ankle and foot, maybe as we call very often the plantar girdle. In here, even if you feel the stretch, don't focus on that and don't make it too intense. Focus in that area and in the idea that you want to fold your ankle. We've worked with Sukhasana before, and now we are working with the ankle. We are integrating two different parts of our bodies, two different very important areas in this practice. Another detail here. See, arms are straight, not forcibly straight though. Hands are grabbing the strap strongly because the hand work in here is also a key component of the method. So in here, we are working with these paw and these paws as well. Remember, our ancestors, they used to have these powerful hands. Nowadays, because of this technology, our arms, forearms, and hands are weaker every day. We have to reestablish this power in our paws. And this is what we do here as well. So do not hold the strap only. Also squeeze it strongly, really challenging your system to be upgraded. Although, if your hands are very sensitive, you might need to do something differently. And this is what you are going to do. Please wrap the strap around your hands. Although, remember, you are not wrapping the strap around your hands to increase the sensation. You are wrapping the strap because your hands are too fragile and you want to be working with the strap with the minimum amount of intensity in here. So the strap is not about you increasing intensity. The strap wrapped around your hands is not about you stretching your leg, okay? It's about you creating an approachable way to work with this position. So go back to the ideal version of it. And then we can have many variations in this position. Sometimes we work with the bottom leg relaxed on the floor. Sometimes we ask for more elevation. Lift up your hands again, customize. Sometimes we work with a movement that moves this leg across the center line, keeping that area stable, but demanding from the hip joint at the same time. Sensation might be here, although the goal is in the joints. We can also work here, engaging the bottom leg. So flex the foot. Now elevate the bottom leg 2 inches. Now have the left foot pointing and making a fist shape. Now just relax the left leg on the floor. And another variation, maybe. Now just close your eyes, feel the pose, and find your balance in here. Be searching for a point of equilibrium, diminishing or minimizing effort and creating a sustainable level of sensation. Sometimes we enter this world of mind exercises. Now please release, have both of your knees bent and feet on the floor. Now I will show you what you could be doing if the floor is not available because you cannot get there or because your leg is too sensitive and working even at a very low angle is too demanding. So this is another idea. This is another variation that I use a lot and it's highly efficient. Prepare your chair again. But now, let's have 2 of them. Please sit on that chair facing this one. Come to the front part of the chair, but if your body is too sensitive, you can also go towards the back using the back support. From here, feet together, knees together, and then just place the right foot on top of the chair. In here, now we have a segue. See, basically the same. We can work with poses in many ways, but one of the key components of this method is the development of the ability to understand what is the most essential part of each and every pose. And in here, yes, we are not on the floor. Eventually we will, although we can have the same proper and perfect stimuli inside of the ankle. That is the main thing we want. With this, we're closing this second position of the method. In our next class, I will talk about 2 other things. Baddha Konasana in a quite unique manner and hands clasped under the pillow. Hands clasped under the pillow being one of the musts of this method. See you there.